33. As we have borne. Do we not hear thy footfall, O beloved, among the stars on many a moonless night? Do we not catch the whisper of thy coming on winds of dawn, and often in the light of noontide and of sunset almost see thee? Look up through shining air and long to see thee, O beloved, long to see thee, and wonder that thou art not standing there. And we shall hear thy footfall, O beloved, and starry ways will open, and the night will call her candles from their distant stations, and winds shall sing thee noon, and mingled light of rose-red evening thrill with lovely welcome. And we, caught up in air, shall see thee, O beloved, we shall see thee, in hush of adoration see thee there. In The Spirit of Discipline, Bishop Paget has a chapter called The Hope of the Body. This is a sentence from it. There is a deep and wonderful prophecy in that inscrutable interaction of soul and body, which may sometimes startle, or bewilder, or distress us. It hints at the hope of the body, the opportunity of the soul. It means that the body also is accessible to the divine life, that there are avenues by which the power of the resurrection can invade it, that it is capable of a transfiguration, that for it too the Lord from heaven is a quickening spirit. And he speaks of our very bodies being affected by a real energy from the indwelling of the Spirit of Christ, so that the power of his resurrection may extend even to the physical conditions of our life, that very slowly and partially it may be, with limits that are soon reached and hindrances that will not yield, yet for all that, very truly and practically, the redemption of our body may be begun on earth. Is not all this full of vital things for us who are ill or in any kind of bonds? Here am I, here are you, in an ordinary bed or an ordinary chair, very conscious of the earthliness of this body of our humiliation, as St. Paul so extremely truthfully calls it, and we cannot get away from it. It will not let us, as we gladly would, forget it. But as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly, is not the only word of comfort that God has for us. He has this other, this that deals with our today, as that does with our tomorrow, in such a glorious, happy way that we are ashamed that we ever, even if but for 1 minute, fail to rise to its bright beckoning. There are avenues by which the power of the resurrection can invade it now. It is capable of transfiguration. Lord, transfigure it. This dust, enlighten it. Cause thy life to flow, that it may not be brought under the power of the things that so often domineer, but even now be prepared for the time when it will be wholly penetrated and transfigured by the Spirit of the Lord. And till that good time comes, there is one thing we can always do. We can find the incense trees that grow in our hottest places. We can offer him our heart's adoration. Among the joys of these months have been the books sent by friends who understand what escape from pain can be found in a book. The first of this company of book friends was the gallant and beautiful Lady Victoria Buxton. She found her incense trees. She was struck down suddenly, a lovely young wife and mother, in February 1869, and held fast by searching and exhausting pain till July 1916. 47 years of pain, and yet her life was one of valorous patience, forgetfulness of self, service to others, and such a sense of light was about her that after she had passed, a daughter could write, "Was she helpless, always in pain, bound wearily to couch and chair? If it was so, it is not suffering and sadness that speak of her. Rather, it is the beauty of sunshine and roses, the shimmer on the river, the blue haze on the summer sea. These things speak of her, not those others. And a friend wrote, "An hour spent in her quiet sitting room was enough to give one an entirely new view of illness and its possibilities. There were indeed the outward signs of an invalid's condition, the prone couch, the sofa, the walking sticks always at hand, the little meal brought in on a tray at 5 o'clock. They were visible in the worn face and attenuated frame, even more touchingly in the fading eyes, the unmistakable evidences of long-continued suffering. But all this was only, as it were, the setting of the picture. The central figure was a spiritual presence, which bodily pain and lassitude were powerless to affect. But hers was not a cheaply won victory of spirit over flesh. This is from her private papers. Things do not improve, and use is not a second nature, and all seems increasingly hard sometimes, and I am rather hopeless of getting better. What should I do without him, in life or death? The inner loneliness would be awful, in spite of all that human affection could do for me. We need a friend, above all, a Saviour, in the depths of our being, and, thank God, we have one." And so she loved, served, shone, was more than conqueror, and fortified and comforted for those 47 years, a very St. John in her day and generation, she gave to all who saw her an entirely new view of sickness and its possibilities.